Thank you, Mr. Chairman. General Holder, I thank you for your testimony here today, and I have a number of curiosities remaining. One of them is this. Are you aware of any plans or any discussion of an effort to transfer one or more detainees from Bagram Air Force Base to the United States for trial?
Nothing immediately comes to my mind. I'm not aware of that.
So then you haven't been in discussions of such a thing. Are you aware of any cases in the past where that's happened?
That's what's giving me some pause. I'm not sure if we have brought people back from Bagram or not. I just don't know. Maybe I can get a written response to that, but I'm not sure about that.
And perhaps I'm too precise, and I should probably say the Afghanistan theater instead. Would that change your response?
I'm thinking of cases that we have brought of people here in the United States who committed acts overseas, and I'm just not sure, as I think about these people, where those acts actually occurred. I'm not sure if it was Afghanistan. I just don't remember.
Do you understand the concept of my question? Out of the theater and the global war on terror, and I use Bagram specifically, but with regard to Afghanistan or that theater of war, then you would assert that currently you're not in discussions with about transferring a detainee to the United States for trial.
Not that I'm aware of as we speak. I'd have to look into that, and if I have a contrary answer to that, I will get you something to write.
Okay. Thank you, General Holder. I would look back on the past testimony here before the committee, and you and I have had a couple of discussions about the Pigford issue. I think each time be the third time in the course of a couple of years. And as that has unfolded before us, I would ask you if you read the New York Times article dated April 25th.
Yeah, I did see it.
And I would offer the opportunity to comment on your review of that article.
Yeah, I think that the article missed a few things. That there are steps that we have in place to limit the amount of fraud that goes on there, both in terms of getting sworn statements from claimants, from doing audits. There are a variety of things that we have in place to ensure that the kind of fraud that was described in that article, I think the article made the fraud seem more widespread than it actually is.
What about the surplus funds that remain yet that have apparently been budgeted for the, I believe it's a Native American case,
right,
about $400+ million? What would your recommendation be, to claw that money back from there rather than to distribute it to locations that apparently don't have the ability to utilize that?
Well, I think, first of all, it's not going to the lawyers. There was some misapprehension about that.
No, I think we understood that. There's a component of it that goes to lawyers, around $60 million, and about $400 million that would be sitting there waiting to be distributed to organizations that were supportive of Native Americans.
Right, and I think that's the way in which the settlement was crafted, and so to the extent that these kinds of organizations can be found, that's where the money should appropriately go.
Then wouldn't it be, bring to your attention, though, that if you can't find a place to put the money, maybe there wasn't a level of discrimination to the level that was originally claimed, if there aren't enough claimants? And let me broaden this question a little bit, and consistent with this theme, that is that what we saw with Pigford 1 and then Pigford 2, a testimony from before this very committee several years ago from the head of the Black Farmers Organization, that there were 18,000 black farmers. If one presumed that 100% of them were discriminated against, and we ended up with some 96,000 claims, and we have at least 15,000 plus payouts at this point, and all of Pigford 2 to be determined yet, that has over 66,000 claims within that universe, so totaling up around 96,000 altogether within black farmers. Then we add to that Garcia and Keefseagle and Love, and we see this number grow to at least $4.4 billion. I believe I quoted to you last time $4.9 trillion. And have you aware of a single perpetrator of discrimination? They all would have had to have been under the payroll of the USDA. Have you investigated to identify a single perpetrator of discrimination against minorities or female farmers that always under the payroll of the USDA? Have you identified even one?
Well, there was certainly a basis for the payment and the settlements. There
was a confession of the USDA.
I'm sorry?
It was a confession or a stipulation of the USDA back in about 1996 is where it began.
Right. There was a determination made, admissions made, that in fact this kind of discrimination did occur, and it was on that basis that the settlements were actually reached.
But does that absolve the perpetrators of $4.4 or more billion worth of discrimination? Aren't they still out there? Shouldn't they be dealt with? Shouldn't there be a means to try to identify the individuals that would allegedly commit that kind of discrimination?
The time of the gentleman has expired, but the Attorney General is welcome to answer it.
We're talking about discrimination that occurred many, many years ago in some instances, and I'm not sure that our time, our limited resources would be well spent trying to deal with identifying those people as much as trying to make sure that people are compensated and that these kinds of actions don't occur in the future.
Thank you, Attorney General. I yield back.